All set. Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Finance Committee of August 22nd, 2023. It is 6:02 p.m. And our second item on the agenda is approval of minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the draft minutes of August 8th, 2023 Finance meeting?
I move approval.
All right, we have a motion for approval. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll place the motion before us to a vote. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it. Motion carries. Item 3, public appearances, non-agenda item. I don't believe we have anyone registered to speak, so we will move on to item 4, and that's the Finance Director Report, Treasurer's Report as of May 31st, 2023. And I'll turn the floor over to our Director of Finance, Misty Dodge.
Thank you. So to start, the May Treasurer's Report is included in the packet. I'll just pause in case there's questions on that before I talk about the rest of my report. Excellent. So then a couple of budget updates. So I like to give you kind of as things are rolling in, give you a preview of what we're working with. So on workers' comp insurance premiums, the premium itself, the rate went down for a lot of our categories. However, our mod went up significantly. So it was about a $45,000 difference because of that mod factor. So that's a new piece. And then health insurance. So we don't know the official health insurance amounts for our particular unit, but statewide, the local government insurance premiums are going up 14.6%. Here in Dane County, at least the last couple of years, we've been less than the state average. So I'm hopeful still that we won't be that high, but this might be the year that it swings and we're now more than state. So we'll know those final numbers the week of September 11th. So not great news, but nothing to be too nervous about quite yet. And then you will see me again tomorrow for the Committee of the Whole. We'll talk a little bit about the referendum, and then if you have other questions on that process. So we'll see you again tomorrow. That's it.
Very good. Thank you. Any questions for Misty? All right. Seeing none, we will move on to item 5, review of bills. 5A, detailed review of checks for $10,000 and above for the period of August 1st through the 15th, 2023, totaling $2,527,171.25. Questions? Seeing none, we will move on to 5B, detailed review of checks, all checks issued. Checks number 125521 through 125605 for the period of August 1st through the 15th, 2023, totaling $2,709,674.78. Is there any questions from the committee? Hearing none, moving on to 5C, detailed review of P-card transactions for $10,000 and above for the cycle ending July 6, 2023, totaling $107,467.58. Questions from the committee? Moving on to the last item under 5, which is 5D, review of P-card transactions for the cycle ending July 6, 2023. Total dollars, $238,044.78. Questions from the committee? All right, that concludes item 5, review of bills. Moving on to action items, which is number 6A. Do I have a motion to move resolution R-116-23, authorizing execution of a contract for planning services with MSA Professional Services for the creation of the South Stoner Prairie Neighborhood Plan and the Greenfield Neighborhood Plan?
I'll move approval.
All right. Motion for approval made by Alder Gerhart. Turning this over for discussion to, or not discussion, but to staff. Misty, or?
I can't tell who's on Zoom, so I think it's me. Nobody's on Zoom?
Just you and Sarah.
Excellent. So
Okay.
This is a purchase of the neighborhood plans. So both of these plans were included in the ARPA TID closure investment plan for about $300,000 combined. So the staff went out to bids. They got 3 bids, 2 of which responded to kind of both pieces of it. And after a process, staff is recommending MSA for a cost that is less than what was budgeted by a little bit. So hoping that we'll get able to move forward with these projects. The goal then would be to have the neighborhood plans completed in October of 2024.
All right, very good. Is there discussion from the committee? Hearing none, I'll place the motion before us to a vote. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, motion carries. Moving on to item 6B, do I have a motion to move Resolution R-117-23, authorizing execution of an agreement for cost sharing for the creation of the South Stoner Prairie Neighborhood Plan between the City of Fitchburg, Minrose LLC, Payne and Dolan, and Fitchburg Hills LLC, Yahara Materials.
I move approval.
All right, we have a motion for approval made by Alder Wheeler. And once again, I will turn this over to city staff. Misty, you're speaking to this item as well.
I will.
right.
So this is connected to the one that we just approved. So for one of the neighborhood plans, there are two main property owners that are a part of the plan that, or the area that we're looking to evaluate. We have negotiated a cost share with those two those two landowners. The combined, they would pay half of the cost. And that's important because we want to make sure the city still is responsible for half or more and still has the majority of the members on the steering committee. So a way to still get them financially invested, but also at the table so as we talk about what that neighborhood plan should look like, but still not more than what the city's interest would be.
Very good. Discussion from the committee. Hearing none, I'll place the motion before us to a vote. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it. Motion carries. Moving on to the next action item, which is 6C. Do I have a motion to move Resolution R-153-23, authorizing acceptance of the Greenway Cross and Higman Road intersection stormwater improvements bid?
I'll move approval.
All right, we have a motion for approval made by Alder Gerhart. Once again, Misty?
Yep. So each year the city budgets for some sort of a flooding or drainage project that needs to get done depending on what issues arise. This particular project is at Greenway and Egaman. It went out to bid. There were 3 bidders that submitted recommending low bid. However, there are 2 budget amendments associated with this because the cost did come in more than that annual amount we set aside. So there's a budget amendment for that to take it from another capital project that we won't be completing. And then the piece that requires 2/3 once it gets to council is we're going to use TID 10, which is the Fish Hatchery Road TID. We'll pay 35% of the cost of this project because 35% of the area that drains into this project is property within the TID. So since that is outside of the current budget but still within the project plan, we need to do a 2/3 budget amendment at council.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Discussion from the committee. Hearing none, I'll place the motion before us to a vote. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 The ayes have it. Motion carries. Moving on to item 6D. Motion to approve Resolution R-154-23, approving the relocation order and TPP related to reconstruction of the Cyene Road Phase 2, north of East Sherrill Parkway to West Clayton Road. Do I have a motion for approval?
I move approval.
All right, Alder Wheeler's motion for approval. Once again, Misty?
Yes. This is Cyene Road Phase 2. So we are wrapping up Phase 1. That's expected to be open the next month or so, I think. But then we need to start moving on to Phase 2. One of the early steps is to do this TPP, which basically outlines what areas of property the city needs to acquire in order to complete this project. So that information is all included in the packet. There's really just 2 small areas that we need to obtain in order to get this project done. So it's relatively limited. But with this resolution, you're authorizing staff to provide offers for purchase of that land. And if there isn't an agreement on what that amount should be, it does give us permission to go through eminent domain and able to get those pieces. And then it also gives staff authority to process those payments administratively through the pre-approval process. You'll see them come back through when the checks come through. But
Okay.
because timing is so important, we generally try to get those done administratively.
Sure, very good. Discussion from the committee. Yes, Alder Gerhart.
Thanks. So just one question. Do the property owners, are they aware that we're going to be approaching them, or is this, obviously we can't give them an offer until this exists, but Are they aware of the project? Do you have any idea?
I'm not confident.
Okay.
I can find out for you.
Yeah, just more of a curiosity. Thanks.
Yeah.
Additional discussion or questions? Hearing none, I'll place the motion before us then to a vote. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Motion carries. Moving on to action item 6E. Do I have a motion to move resolution R-155-23, purchase of pedestrian lights for the third addition to Terravesa?
I'll move approval.
All right, motion for approval made by Alder Gerhart, and I will turn it over once again to Misty.
Thank you. In order to retain the warranty on these lights after they are installed and returned back to us, the city makes this purchase upfront. So we are purchasing the lights, we are providing them to the developer to install, and then they give them back to us when we accept those subdivision improvements at the end of the project. We jump through this hoop simply to keep the warranty, but we end up billing the developer 100% of this cost back.
Very good, thank you. Discussion from the committee. All right, no discussion. I'll place the motion before us to a vote. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Before I move on, I was just notified that there is no audio coming through on Fact TV.
It's only on the live stream, so it's everywhere else but the live stream.
So
Live
after
stream.
the fact, they can watch it and have audio.
Correct. So it's still getting the cable TV and
I think my message came from live stream, or at least on
Yeah,
via
that's,
web.
we're on the line with the vendor right now.
Okay, very well. You're aware of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on, let's see if I lost my place here, to item 6F. Do I have a motion to move resolution R-161-23, preliminary assessment resolution for 2023 sidewalk replacement? And this is a direct referral.
I move approval.
All right, motion for approval made by Alder Wheeler and Misty.
Yes, so this is the first step in that special assessment process. So you guys approved the annual road resurfacing project, I think last meeting or the meeting before. This is to get that special assessment path kind of started for that project. So following the city's special assessment process, we believe, our policy, we believe there's certain properties that are going to be specially assessed for the sidewalk that will go in front of their home or along their area. The first step in this process is to provide notice to them. So this resolution would get approved. Engineering would put together a report of all of the properties that would be impacted and an estimated dollar amount. They would provide notice. There would be a public hearing. Then the project is completed and finalized and final costs are calculated. And then you would see that final special assessment resolution at the end of that process before it becomes an invoice out to the customer, or the property owner. So this is the first step, basically putting people on notice that this is a path we plan to follow.
Okay, very good. Questions, discussion from the committee? Hearing none, I'll place the motion before us to a vote. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it. Motion carries. Moving on to the next item, 6G. Do I have a motion to move resolution R-162-23, approving a state municipal agreement to fund the construction of the County Trunk Highway MM pedestrian underpass? And this is a direct referral as well.
I move approval.
All right. We have a motion for approval made by Alder Gerhart, and once again, Misty.
Included in the adopted CIP was a project for a bicycle and pedestrian underpass by County Highway MM. Staff did research grant opportunities. They requested and were awarded a TAP grant for about 60% of that cost. What's in front of you now is that state municipal agreement, which is the agreement we have with the granting agency that outlines what our responsibilities are, what the timeline is, how we can spend the money, how much the money is. So it's that grant document piece. And then the project in the CIP is expected to be designed in 2025 with construction in 2026. So great to help get some of that project helped be funded.
Very good. Questions, discussion from the committee? Hearing none, I'll place the motion before us to a vote. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it. Motion carries. And then on to our final action item, which is 6H. Do I have a motion to move Resolution R-166-23, Police Department Employee Retention Payment Program, and this is a direct referral.
I move approval.
All right. We have a motion for approval made by Alder Wheeler, and I have the Chief of Police and the Deputy Chief of Police here. Are you, one of you speaking to this item, or back to Misty?
We're going to start with Sarah, and then we're going to go over to Deputy Chief Leahy. Is that correct?
Oh, okay, very good, Sarah. You have the floor.
I'm sharing my screen up here before we get into the police. Oh, sorry. It doesn't seem to be working. Can you hear me? Oh, all right, now it's working.
There we go.
Sorry about that. Before we get into the program, I wanted to share some stats that I think are really important. So I shared my screen, and I wanted to kind of start off with recruitment of new officers. So about 3 to 5 years ago, we would receive 100 to 150 applications for a position of police officer, and that's in 1 month. We've had a continuous recruitment for over a year now, and we've received 185 applications total. So what we used to receive in 1 month takes us over a year to achieve now. So I just wanted to kind of put it in perspective. On to the next slide here. Let me change my transition here. Turnover rate over the years. So going back to 2015, you can kind of see the trends. And the turnover last year was really difficult for the city of Fitchburg. We had 25% or 14 officers that we lost last year. This year we're at 9%. If we even get a couple more, that will push us to 14% for the year. So you can see just the turnover rate over the years. The next slide is really interesting. This is why police officers are leaving. We've lost 55 officers since 2015 and 26 officers since 2020. So it's pretty substantial. And you can see the reasons we have listed here. Retirement was the number one reason, but the second reason was out of the profession, just leaving policing altogether. We had a number of officers not pass probation, other officers that have just left for other employers that are still in kind of law enforcement, FBI, military, state, security type positions. And then I thought it'd be interesting to see, if they are leaving for neighbors, where is it when it comes to City of Madison and Dane County? We've lost 6 sworn law enforcement just to Dane County in the last 2 years. And then City of Madison, of course, is listed there as well. And then relocation is the other main reason for officers leaving. So just to kind of put it in perspective of why we're bringing this retention program to you. The current situation, we have 7 police officer vacancies, and we have 5 right now that are eligible for retirement. So there is that potential we could lose more. So I broke down the police retention payment program on the slide here for the public in case they didn't get a chance to go through the packet, but there's 4 components of this program. The first part is recognition pay for sworn staff. It comes to $150,000, including benefits. The second component is recognition pay for professional staff. This is your civilian, non-sworn law enforcement staff, and that comes to $25,000, including benefits. The third piece to that is service bonuses for the sworn staff, and that comes to $85,000. So details about what all of these, and chiefs can get into it, are included in the packet. But all 3 of those will be fully funded by salary savings in the police department. So it's money that's already there that can just be given back to show the appreciation for the staff that are still there. There's a 4th component to the retention payment program. It's called an onboarding stipend. So this is going to help us hopefully recruit for some new police officers. And this would be paid for through the Safer Communities grant. It would come to about $14,000, including benefits. So we took this retention program to the Personnel Committee on August 9th, and it was they did make a recommendation for the police retention payment program. So now we're bringing it to you, and then we'll take it to council tonight too. So I'll turn over to the chiefs to share more.
Sure.
So obviously this is only one potential solution to a multifaceted problem that we're facing. One of our biggest reasons for bringing this forth is the time that it takes to bring on a brand new officer could be up to 1.5 to 2 years. So the fact that we are losing staff, experienced staff at such a high rate limits our ability, that knowledge gap, those skills and abilities that, as some of you may know, when we lose that, it takes us exponentially longer to gain that back. So our hope is that by offering this retention bonus to not only sworn, but also our other professional staff, we'll be able to keep our staff that we currently do have, in the hopes that we start backfilling a lot of those vacancies that we have. And we do currently have 4 officers in the academy, 2 of which are going to be graduating in October. But those that graduate in October aren't going to be counting towards a filled position until probably, with field training, probably until March of next year. So we still have time that it's going to take to bring them on. We also have 2 in the academy at Madison College that are graduating in December. Those 2 won't be off of field training until probably May or June of next year. And then they won't be off probation until May or June of the following year. So training new officers, bringing them on takes a very long process. So our focus with this is to recognize the staff that is currently here, retaining that knowledge that we're potentially losing to other agencies, out of the profession, to retirement. Maybe we can hold on to that knowledge for just a little bit longer if it's retirement, or encourage those that are looking elsewhere to stay by providing them with this level of recognition, and understanding that the more years of service that you have in the profession should translate to more knowledge of the profession. That's why there's also the years of service recognition built in as well. So if there's any questions from the panel, I know, Gabriella, you've seen this presentation already, but if there's any questions, I'm more than happy to answer.
I'll start. First of all, thank you very much for the presentation. And I know a lot of it was an eye-opener for me. I mean, we've talked about it, but I mean, just to see it on the screen, I know a lot of thought went into this retention initiative.
Sure.
And I think it's obviously very important for the public safety of Fitchburg. Do you believe that the money that's been allocated is enough, or maybe you're going to hold comment until time tells us?
This is not a one-all end-all. If we look at what's going on around the state or the country, there's bonuses in some areas of the state where they're giving out signing bonuses of $10,000. One jurisdiction on the east side of the state, similar, just a little bit, similar size of Fitchburg, they offered a $10,000 signing bonus and had the opening for 2 months, only had 2 applicants for a $10,000 signing bonus. And 2 applicants, that doesn't mean you're going to hire both applicants. They might not be fit the needs or pass the process. And that process requires, there's a hiring process there along with a physical, medical, psychological, and what am I missing there?
Drug screening.
And drug screening. And if they fail any one of those pieces, they're out on top of the hiring process. That is pretty detailed as well through HR. So it's we can't make any promises. We're just trying to see what we can do, use a multifaceted approach. There are a number of different things. You're going to hear other presentations as far as facility needs and so on, to hope that we can at least maintain staffing levels here as the city of Fitchburg continues to grow. Because this is just filling budgeted staffing needs.
Sure. I only asked the question is, some of those numbers are a little staggering. We have Madison, and I don't know if Dane County was included. They have such bigger pockets, deeper pockets, and I just want to make certain that we're doing everything we can to keep an officer in training or an officer that's currently sworn to keep them here, is what I'm saying. That's all. And I appreciate you as a leader bringing this forward, and Sarah and Deputy Leahy.
One last thing I'll say on that is the cities that are, or jurisdictions that are providing those high salaries, they still haven't filled their staffing levels. So it's going to take a multifaceted approach, and it's going to
Sure.
take just a profession to get back on its feet and get the numbers back out there. We shouldn't be fighting for the same applicant.
Right. Okay, very good. Is there any other questions? Alder Gerhart.
I just had one, well, so we discussed this in personnel. It passed even though it was just a vote because we didn't have the resolution prepared, but we did vote in support of it. And there was a good discussion there. Definitely a full support of this. I think it's a great program. I think it's a great thing to use your staff vacancy savings to reinvest in your staff that's currently there and that's experiencing the consequences of that staff vacancy savings. I think it's a great idea, and I think that given the opportunity that presents itself with this amount of money, I think it's a great option. So I think appreciate you for bringing it forward. I did have one question that I didn't note in the last discussion. For the service bonus, it says the service bonus $170 per year for service for sworn staff. Is that service to the city of Fitchburg, or is it service to the profession?
Only to the city of Fitchburg.
Okay. I don't think that's clear in the wording, and I don't know if that's important for us to clarify that, or maybe it's not.
I'll pipe in. So I think that is definitely the intention. And we could even just make it clear in the minutes that that's the intention on behalf of the committee as well. And I think we could make that change administratively.
Great.
Very good. Additional comments? All right. Hearing none, I'll place the motion before us to a vote. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it. Motion carries. That concludes the action items under number 6. We'll move on to number 7, announcements. The next Finance Committee meeting is scheduled for September 12th, 2023. And then, of course, the last item is number 8, adjournment. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
All right, a motion for adjournment. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it. We are adjourned at 6:29 p.m. Thank you.